Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik, the Thunder podcast. Episode number 40. We're on the big 40. We've made it there, which isn't actually that bad because you think about the TSF, which started a whole year and a half before the Sellik, the Thunder or something, and that's only on 85. So we're catching up on them. I say as if it's no matter podcast, but as we are back in the G4 studios, thank you very much for having us. Massive shout out to them. And also, if you want to get involved with the G4 FIFA 22 giveaway, make sure to head over to the TSF Twitter account, get involved, and you can win a copy for the PS5 if you're lucky enough to own a PS5.
I am.
We know the stock is still out at Xbox Boy over here. You know,
I don't play games anymore.
mine's just a lean, mean
I've no time
Netflix
for
machine. You're a busy podcaster, Kieran.
Oh, aye.
Look, a brilliant week to talk about Celtic, but look, Ryan, you've been buzzing to come on. I'll come to the 2 years before we start talking. You've been buzzing, mate. How are you feeling right now?
Tremendous, absolutely euphoric. We won at Easter Road in the league, first time in 7 years, feeling very good. That first half an hour was absolutely sublime. I know we'll talk more about it, but 3 points away from home. We'll get 3 points against Aberdeen away, we've got 3 points against Motherwell away, and we'll get 3 points against Hibs away. Can't complain, couldn't be happier at the moment.
Lovely. And Kieran, yourself, you look a bit more straight-faced over there. You're hiding the
I
euphoria.
don't know, maybe I just don't show the emotion on my face. I mean, I'm feeling it inside, but nah, I mean, you're buzzing with that, aren't you? Because I mean, you looked at that fixture list before. I think it was you that put it up into the tweet, and like you took.
It was me.
Was it you?
It was fucking me. It was me.
I'm just nodding.
nabbed by this kid.
Credit stolen, but no, I seen that tweet talking about like people like if you looked at that before, you were not fancying your chances. But as I said before, like the Aberdeen win, just the amount of confidence that must have breathed into the team. Like, because just look at the way we've went on to play, and obviously we've come on to last night's game. We were brilliant for the start of the game, going forward, but then we showed that we can do the defensive side as well in the second half. So really nothing to complain about the past wee while with Celtic, which is a welcome change.
A welcome change for this podcast, because this podcast
started
has
off in bitter roots.
specialised.
A very bad place.
We specialised in complaining, moaning, and now it seems a complete 180. The views are quite rightfully going down because people aren't getting the meltdowns they want. But look, I'd take us winning any day of the week over the views, because it just makes you a happy boy.
That's not what you're saying back in February, right?
well, let's keep that.
Come on,
let's
keep
keep
on
that
losing,
quiet.
get those views up.
Look, we never actually had. I may as well address this before we head on to the actual topics for today. We never had a podcast out on Sunday. We could have. We should have. We had a few hangovers to nurse.
Certainly did.
See, this is just no helping with the...
There was a question.
I seen the question come in. I was like, honestly, I need to just have a weekend of it. I mean, I'm telling you, November's my month.
November's your month?
Not really, but I mean...
I feel like that charity Sober for October must have had a drought, basically, in contributors, because
everybody has been on it this month.
Well, it's like we've been trapped in the house. May as well enjoy ourselves. But that question, I was howling. I seen it. It's like, is Kieran all actually sober or something?
No, it's like, how is it? It's like,
how long have you been?
How long has young old managed to get half a drink? I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
You've just came across as a right fucking alky on this show, mate. You can't help it.
I just pulled out a pint there.
That's just
I was starting looking at the machine like, no.
You were looking at the fucking
it's too late to start.
the Morgans you were looking at, wasn't it?
No, I was just admiring how much somebody has took out that absolute, man. Somebody's had that absolute blast in here recording.
I want to see that podcast, whoever it is. Look, we'll get into the topics for today. It's a busy week. Now that we return to the sort of Friday shows that we'll have to for the next little while, with Europa League being on, and we'll cover that as it comes. But we may as well start with last night, since we've already touched on it. We won't talk about it too much because I think the main idea is to preview tomorrow's game against Livingston. I say tomorrow because this is going out on the Friday.
I'm losing my days.
Tomorrow's game against Livy we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth. But last night, Ryan, Celtic are 3-1 winners at Easter Road. They broke the is it the hoodoo they call it? The hoodoo.
What did you call it?
The hoodoo.
Kidoju.
They broke the hoodoo of Easter Road, the first league win since 2014, and they'd done it, especially in the first half, in impressive style, Ryan.
I mean, that first half an hour, it could have been 5 or 6-0. You've got to say, the football we were playing was absolutely immense.
Liquid football.
Sexual football, I would say. I would go as far to say, do you know, we're in the after dark. Honestly, I was watching this game and my dad and I were just watching it on a stream. We're like, this is absolutely phenomenal, the football we were playing. It seemed as if everything was coming off for us, and Hibs looked genuinely frightened of us every time we went forward. Jota was giving Josh Doig an absolute nightmare down that side.
Yep.
And Ralston was playing well, Juranovic was playing well, Kyogo obviously gets his goal. I'm just full of positives just now. And the second half was a completely different performance, but we didn't look very threatened at all in the second half. We controlled the game like we've done the past couple of weeks, which has been absolutely brilliant, and another good game for that centre half pairing. It's getting better and better every single game, I would say.
A lot of people always like to bring up in this situation, and I don't mean Celtic fans, I mean fans of opposition teams, they like to bring up the fact that Hibs were rotten, but I feel like, Kieran, it's very harsh to jump to that conclusion regarding how well Celtic actually played yesterday. That opening 45, Ange Postecoglou said in his post-match, it's the best performance yet.
I mean, you can say how bad Hibs were, but I mean, they were absolutely blown out the water by us, and you actually cannot argue with that, because the way we were playing yesterday, we'd have put a few past many teams in this league, even the better ones. Like Hibs have been on a poor run of form, we're going into a good run of form, but even them, as I've said, Easter Road in the past, it's not really mattered the form gone into it, because we've struggled there big time. But I hope for the hoodoo's been broken at a few grounds now.
I know, you look at the record, even under Rodgers couldn't do it, Lennon couldn't do it,
Ange Ball, baby.
John Kennedy couldn't do it.
No, he couldn't.
And Ange goes in his first time with, and this was the big thing, I know you were about to speak here, Ryan, but this is the big thing for me. Yesterday on that field, Joe Hart, Juranovic, Carter Vickers, Juranovic, Jota, Kyogo. These are all names of guys who are playing there for the first time, and they just look so natural, so confident, and obviously that comes from the manager. We talked about how much people were talking about how players never turned up last season, and we always said in our show, well, it comes from the top. It comes from what the manager gives them. So Ange going there in his first time and making us look completely natural and confident as winners is just a positive in so many notes.
Yeah, absolutely delighted. Even when you compare it to the first game of the season away from home against Hearts, it's a changed team, because we're bringing different players in. I think it was like there was only four players.
Yep,
I found that
incredible.
That was mad when I seen that Saturday.
The guy is achieving miracles with this team, considering how quickly it's taken to gel. It's looking really, really good. And if this is what it's like after a couple of months in, what's it going to be after like 6, 7, 8 months?
Yeah, and the thing is, obviously, I wanted to jar you so much about your tweet the other night, and I'm bringing this up on the show now.
Was I wrong?
You weren't wrong per se, but you put up a tweet and you said on Saturday afternoon, bring on January the 2nd, and I was furious because I've learnt my lesson, and I was like, right, one game at a time. We could turn up to Easter Road on Wednesday night, we can lose the game, and then suddenly you're back to square one. We didn't know, and fair play to you, Ryan. Once again, I do reiterate, I'm looking at one game at a time at the moment, but with the way that we did play, it does make you fancy your chances a little bit more. You do get confident, but there's a long way to go.
It's a long season ahead. We're not even a third of the way in yet.
Yep.
I mean, we've got a good chance to put together really good run of form going into it. I mean, November as well. I mean, who have we got in November?
Quite a difficult run of games.
I don't think it's as bad.
Towards the end,
it's not as bad as the run we've just went.
December's always the month. December's the real test, because you've got games coming at you thick and fast, and it's about utilising the squad.
But even in November, we have it thick and fast as well. Europa League especially. I think there's one more international break in there, which could be of use to us. But last night we were brilliant. A couple of guys that I wanted to touch on very quickly, and then I'll open it up for you guys to kind of add in anything about last night if you have missed. The Joe Hart. I want to talk about him. Those saves, and I brought this up my 3 things we've learned, so it's nothing new from my mouth if you've watched that video. But Joe Hart, he makes a huge save at 1-0, a massive save that if it goes in the back of the net, which it would have last season, changes the complete tone of the game. Hibs get their heads up and Hibs go right for it. He makes another save in the 75th minute when we're up 3-1, massive once again, that if Hibs also score, changes the tone of the game. And last season we see what it was like. We were under pressure, couldn't handle it. Those saves, I fully apologise, and I've said it already a few times, but I just want to make it perfectly clear. I apologise so much to you, Joe Hart. I love you, and right now, despite the goals Kyogo's given us, despite the flair that Jota's shown us, despite the qualities that Juranovic is bringing us, right now, I genuinely think Joe Hart could be our signing of the season. I don't know if that's a bolder claim, but I think there's an argument for him being signing of the season.
At this current point, I think you need to agree with it, because realistically, the amount of times he's saved us in games, as you said, at important moments, it's not even just saves that we were 2-3-0 or whatever. Like, it's ones that, as you said, it would have changed the complexion of the game. And it sounds kind of stupid, like a goalie making saves, but it's how depraved we were of that last season. But it's not even as if it's just basic ones. It was some big saves he made last night, and I wasn't as against Joe Hart as some Celtic fans. I wasn't pure on board with it. I had my reservations because the past few seasons in his career have been
poor,
very lacklustre, for a lack of a better word. But I don't know, I don't know if it was just a wee hope that he would come in and this would be the perfect fit for him at Celtic and the perfect place for him to get his career back on track, to see out his career, because I don't see him.
But also get it back on track.
Back on track. But when I said that, it's not as if he's back on track and then he'll kick on and go back to a bigger club sort of thing. But
he's a guy who doesn't look, and we say this, goalkeepers get better with age, they age at a fine wine and all that kind of part of. But Joe Hart, he's 34-year-old, and he doesn't he looks like a keeper who can offer us a few years of service, so he has well and truly got his career back on track, I think, here at Celtic. But he saves in the pitch, and his attitude as a human and as a player and as a leader is shining through. That photo you showed me there before we started, that's just cute.
This is a bit of a bromance as well. Now I know people have been talking about Jota and Kyogo, but there's a bit of a bromance going on.
Mia Bad has been bombed out in that duo as well.
I know, but may as well change the chant. We got Jota, he's in the wing. We need to do it. It's just
Jota as well. See something when we were talking about it earlier. See the fact we've now got a winger that's capable of being utilised on both sides pretty comfortably. Like, we've had it in the past where people get shunted out there and they don't look comfortable, even like Forrest getting put out on the left and all that, but now we've got Jota that can actually play on both sides and gives us the option.
I never really thought of that. Nice to bring it up, Ryan.
I think Joe Hart has been absolutely phenomenal.
It could be the title of the podcast. It really could be. Is he the signing of the season? Because
would you take any goalkeeper over him in the Scottish Premier?
No, absolutely not. And look, I know people are going to be quick to jump down throats because Alan McGregor, he dives to the left, he dives to the right, all that part. Alan McGregor has had a couple of stinkers this season. On current form right now, you're taking Joe Hart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And look, I'll be the first to admit, Alan McGregor's a fantastic goalkeeper. Alan McGregor's a goalkeeper who I've envied at times because of how good he is. And he's had a great career. But Joe Hart, right now, there is no argument. There is none at all about who's been the better keeper.
This is Joe Hart's league now.
Yeah.
And we're all living in it.
I don't want to jinx him though.
No, absolutely not. But a couple of those saves last night at point blank, they were reminding me of prime Artur Boric, the way he was just making himself massive. Absolutely brilliant. And see at 34, this talk about him being too old or whatever, or an older goalkeeper, that's nothing as a goalkeeper.
Alan McGregor's 40.
Exactly.
Is he 40 now?
40, well, he's 39 or 40.
39, 40 odds. But he's been absolutely brilliant. What a signing. Definitely done better than... We had that double signing, and one has done a lot better than the other one.
And I thought it would go the other way.
Yeah, me too.
I thought it would go the other way, but look, you can't fault him at the moment. And I think it was one of the European games as well. He made a massive Parkhead. Was it Ferencváros made a fantastic save?
He made a double save against Jablonec.
He also made some big saves against Alkmaar.
Is that maybe the game I'm thinking of?
Might be that game.
I'm sure it was a European night.
It's becoming a regular feature though, him making big saves.
And it is so refreshing. I know we kind of touched on that. It's refreshing because they're saves that need to be made. And you need a goalkeeper that does that pulls them out of nowhere. Because the thing is about the Scottish Premiership, and what we've seen so many times last season, is Celtic can dominate games, but all it takes is one chance, one shot on target, and that's it. The game changes because heads drop on one side, heads go up.
In so many games as well, if these teams get lucky with a goal, they'll just sit in for the rest of the game.
How many times it happened last season?
And we kind of break them down. But I see, just moving away from Joe Hart, but let's see, just going back to the way we were playing attacking wise last night, and they could not get on the ball at all.
No.
We're playing out for the back. anytime they did ball, they were panicking. And then see Tom Rogic.
Oh yeah, we have to come on to Rogic.
I really
Cigar
hope.
and
Is there
slippers.
any update on his?
No, there's not been yet, which I'm quite happy about because I feel like
No news is good news usually.
I feel like that goes in their favour a wee bit.
Is somebody that season after season is questioned by the support as to whether or not he should still be here. I feel like everyone is. I can't mind if somebody was to go back to the tier list video we done.
Oh aye,
I'm
that's
curious
right.
as to where we would have put him.
I think we need to have a look back on that because there was one thing that I was going to put up on the Twitter page as well about Tony Ralston. I wanted it. Mind we sat here and we done loan buy or sell, and we said Ralston sell, and your exact quote was punt him so far to fuck. Like
I
there's
remember
so
at the
many
time
things.
A lot
to
of
do.
us were on the
Prove me
same
wrong,
page,
but
to be honest.
You did?
I've never been happy to be proved wrong because it's somebody that I thought it doesn't matter who the manager is, his career's not going to get turned round. But week after week,
play.
the effort levels that Ralston's putting in. I'm not saying his game is perfect; it's far from perfect. But I mean, he's one of the hardest trials on that pitch.
Which brings me on to the point I wanted to bring up for your thing last night. So, and I know it's not that you clarified yourself, but you made a comparison of Tony Ralston to Scott Brown,
Yeah.
and I'll let you justify that in a moment because you did justify yourself last night. But I just remember at first when you said it, I was the reason that I joined the spaces was because I was going to come in.
Oh, so you didn't do it to support me?
I was
You
going
wanted
to come
lambast
in.
me?
I was going to come in, and I was going to join. I was going to go, Ryan. That Ralston to Brown comparison is the worst comparison I've heard for Hitler to Neil Lennon. That was all I was going to join for. But you justified yourself in the terms of what you meant.
He's the mouthpiece in the team. He's that guy that knows what it's like to play for Celtic. And you need at least one of those players in the team, or you can.
Apologies for that.
There's Ryan's mic away.
Aye.
You need at least one of those guys in the team. Now I know that sounds pure Sellik dad, but you need a
No, you
mouthpiece
do.
that'll
do.
reinforce it to maybe the foreign players that maybe don't really know what it's like to play for Celtic.
There was I know you're about to speak here, and I'll come to you in a moment. I seen a tweet when we were in poor form about a month ago, and I actually fully agreed with it. And it was something like there wasn't enough players in the team who got it, and I completely agreed with it at the time. And I think now the players do get it, everybody, and that's maybe been translated for the likes of McGregor, Ralston. They've shook like,
Joe
we need
Hart
to
as
win,
well,
and
though.
Hart as well.
Yeah.
What were you guys say?
See, it was the thing with Ralston. It was like previously I said like about Ralston at the start of the season, Mark, you can have people that get it all you want, but they need the ability to back it up. But now he's starting to back it up, and it's like he's always the one leading. I know it's just a wee thing, but he seems to be the one leading up to the crowd and that after the games to celebrate, and that it shows you that he is proper into it, and it's nice to see. But see the other thing you just brought up there as well about players not really getting it or getting that involved. I remember people complaining when nobody was rushing out when somebody's getting fouled, and then you seen that. No against Hibs, but against Hibs to an extent, but at the weekend especially.
Johnson. When they were kicking us around the park, aye.
They went for it when Carter Vickers got hanged with Chris Kane.
Yep.
So I mean, a lot of people are happy to see that, and it does show that the team's actually gelling on and off the park a bit.
Yeah, we're getting there in great stride. The one last thing before I see if any of you two want to bring up anything, the one last thing I wanted to touch on from last night was Rogic and Turnbull, because we've already mentioned Rogic. Rogic was strolling it till he had to go off last night. He was the best player in the park.
Yep.
Cigar, slippers, cruising the game. Turnbull, I thought as well, looked sharp last night, looked great.
Aye.
And we spoke for weeks now about how that partnership didn't work. I'm not going to go head over heels and say that's it fixed, it's fine, we can play it every week now. But since those conversations started, they have been getting better. And I think that the manager has found a way to implement them in the team that works a bit better.
Yeah, I think it's down to the fact Turnbull actually had a really good game last night,
did,
because
he was
see
unsung hero last
when
night.
Turnbull when he's misplacing passes and that's when it starts coming up. Rogic can be having a game silky feet as usual, but if Turnbull's off his game, it doesn't flow as well in the midfield. But everybody was on it last night, and it shows. But I don't know if it's the sort of thing where if somebody's not playing to the best of their ability, if it's going to start to show and it's not as fluid. But I just can't get how good Rogic is with the ball at his feet. I've seen it season after season, even when people have wrote him off. Even last season when he was meant to go to Qatar and then he came back, he had like a 5-game spell where he was actually playing really well.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think we never sold him then. We never really heard much of him for the rest of the season.
I don't think he was a Lennon man, was he? At all? Lennon didn't know what to do with Tom Rogic.
Nah, I did not.
Give him the ball and let him run.
That couple of games looked like it might have, but then it just went
Aye.
to pot after that, didn't it?
It was Ronnie Dyler that really resurrected his career, because he was out on loan a couple of times. Remember, he went to Sydney,
that's right, aye.
and then he came back and he scored a really, really good goal against Partick Thistle at Firhill, and that kind of started his sort of redemption story into the first team, which was absolutely brilliant.
Been at Celtic for
some player.
8 years now.
Aye, one of the longest servers, along
Him and
with
Beaton
Beaton,
share
McGregor.
a testimonial together. those two.
The Beaton.
I don't think the
the
Beaton
Beaton
one-
and Rockets testimonial.
I'm only saying that because I don't think the Beaton one will sell as well.
No, I don't
Need
think
to throw
so.
James Forrest in there as well, man.
Aye,
These two.
Forrest, aye. Get the free. This shit, that's free of him. You'd need to, like, if Beaton was to get his own testimonial, you'd need Larson in that team. You'd need Larson to draw. He's out of job now anyway.
Did he get
I
sacked
think
as
he
well
got
as part of
sacked as well. Aye, I think he's away. Larson
Striking
away.
coach. I've always said get him in as a striking coach.
He could help,
But
man.
Him and
now
Big
I'm
John Hartson.
proper Sellik, man. No, I just want to talk about Turnbull because I thought Turnbull was brilliant last night. He always seems to play well against Hibs for some reason. I don't know if
Aye,
that's because
I know.
Hibs come out a wee bit and they try and play their game, so it gives Turnbull more space. But it was something like 7 or 8 key passes he had last night, so he's really, really getting involved, and 2 assists. The numbers always look really good for David Turnbull. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes he's more memorable when he misplaces a pass. I think it's more obvious when he does it, but his assists can't be questioned at all.
No, they cannot.
See one thing I was going to mention as well. See Jota in the run up to his assist as well. See the wee turn he does. He gets fouled, he
Oh,
gets
yes,
back up, and
yes.
he gets in the space for it. That goal was just so well worked, man. Like everything about it was just unreal.
Yesterday was just brilliant. I know second half, to give Hibs a bit of credit, they came out, they were a lot better, but there was a real stability around Celtic. There was a real resilience about us, and on a level, of course, it wasn't as impressive in the first half, but you're still impressed with what you see in the second half in terms of a defensive outlet.
Yep.
Outlook. I should say.
See what I found funny? I don't know. Did you have the Hibs commentary on?
No, I had I had Rory Hamilton and Stephen Craigan.
did that.
I had the Hibs commentary, right, and see with Starfelt.
So what you're saying is
Were
you,
they not desperate for him to make a mistake?
so what you're saying is
Ashton-
you paid for the game.
Did I fuck you in 50?
Right, well, you did, aye. Hey, what you going to say though? Go.
No, like on it, Starfelt had one shaky moment, and see for the rest of the game, he kept like saying, "Oh, he's panicking on the ball and that. He just want the ball. He's like a hot potato and all that." But I'm like, I mean, I didn't. He had a good performance, I thought. But
Aye.
see this thing on Twitter as well. But I thought Starfelt played well last night. But see the whole thing. People are so on board with Starfelt now that they can't admit that there was a couple of moments where he looked shaky. I'm like, you can back him without being blind to the fact
Yeah, I
that
get
he's
that.
not the finished article. You don't need to sit and kid on. He's absolutely amazing at it.
Yep.
He's getting better game after game, and everybody can see that. But you're allowed to still acknowledge the fact that he
Yeah.
never had a 10
Because it
out of 10
happened.
game.
It happened against St Johnstone. It happened against Ferencvaros. He had a couple of slip-ups. It
And
doesn't
it's-
mean that
aye.
he's,
It
because
doesn't mean he's fallen back into old habits. It just
Aye.
means he's improving game
'Cause
after
I'm-
game. He's going to make mistakes, but it's the people that annoy me are the ones that are just he can do no wrong.
Aye.
Now that they're on side of him.
There
I
needs
mean-
to be a middle ground because
Aye.
there's people on both
They'll
sides
get
that is
head
either,
over heels with it.
Aye.
there's either people that think he can't make a mistake in the world now,
Mm-hmm.
or the fact that people are still saying he's
Aye.
shite even though he's having much better games than he was
Aye,
2
you
months
can-
ago.
All you need to do is acknowledge he's getting better game after game. He's starting to look impressive, but he's still got things to
because if I'm
polish
being
his game.
completely honest, right now he might be my favourite player on the team. He might be. There's something you
That's
know.
Joe Hart,
well,
your favourite player
well
on the
Joe
team,
Hart's
and
one of them,
then-
but Starfelt actually might be because you know. Look, Kieran, you've sat beside me for years. I loved Sviatchenko, loved him, adored him. Christopher Ayer, loved him. There's something about a Scandinavian centre half that I just can't.
Thomas Romney
Oh, what a player! Eh?
playing Leuven's.
Leuven's.
He's Dutch.
Yeah, he's Dutch. Aye, a clown. Mialby. Oh,
go.
like, you know, I just love a Scandinavian centre half. Starfelt and probably Kyogo are the two for me and McGregor. I mean, there's so many, but I'm loving Starfelt. But I am on that side with you, Kieran, that we have to admit when
Aye.
something that's
I'm not saying
quite
I'm still pure against Starfelt. I'm with him, but I'm just no with the whole hype. He can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you put them on a pedestal, and then the slightest wee mistake, it's fucked.
I think the reason that I like him so much just now, and that he might be one of my favourite players, is because of how he has turned it around. Because there was so much slander against him. I was
Everybody
like,
loves a redemption
I
arc.
want him.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, I want you to do well. I
But-
really do.
I think if we're going to talk about one centre half last night, it has
Like
to be
CCV.
Carter Vickers. That boy, I don't know how much.
Lost his
Was
man
one
for the
of them.
first goal, but he certainly made up for it in the
Oh,
rest of the
aye,
game.
did,
See when
yeah.
Nisbet was through and goal as well, just absolutely shouldered him off the ball and took it right off him. Nisbet,
right.
I didn't think was too much of a threat last night.
He hasn't been for the last few weeks,
Quite
really.
not the best start to his season this.
3 goals.
Is it 3?
3 goals.
I
Yep.
wasn't sure if it was 2 or 3.
3 goals
Nisbet.
this season. Yep, 3 goals. Scottish strikers aren't having the greatest outside, I think, of Dykes. I think he's on 3. Tony Watt's doing really well. Then there's a couple on
The
2.
boy for Birmingham, is it Carlin Grant that can
I've
play
seen people
for,
saying something.
that can play for Scotland?
Ross Stewart's doing alright at
He's
Sunderland.
done very well at Sunderland.
Anyway, that's us needing Sunderland defender, so let's let's
there any fun at Sunderland now?
it's a
Ever?
fuck, maybe waiver wise, but certainly not in their aspect of things.
But Carter Vickers was really good
yeah.
last night.
Look, before we go on to talk about tomorrow and everything else you'd like to throw out about last night? Anything that came to mind that we've maybe missed at all as we head to the 25-minute mark here? He's thinking, look at him, he's desperate.
No, I don't think there's anything.
Nah, just keep on rolling, baby. Ange Ball. Also, big thing, and this doesn't really concern the viewers at home because it's not as if you need to sit through it, but we don't need to stop anywhere. Half an hour in. We just keep going and going because of the G4 cameras. Thank you very much to G4.
Thank you, G4.
They're lovely
Filmed
cameras.
in 4K, but you'll see it in 1080 if ranking be ours.
Or 720, as usual.
That was what the Hib stream was last night, 720p.
Was it?
Yep.
£15 people paying for that to see 720 and hear them talk about Starfield.
I tell you what though, right, talk about HD, and we might be slagging them for getting out 720, right? If I could watch comedy shows, I'd stick it back in standard definition, man. Like stuff like Still Game and all that. I hate
Do you
seeing
know, it
them
gets a
redone.
weird feeling. Let's assume they brought it back and it's in HD and it just
Horrible.
doesn't feel right.
Horrible. It's just, it should be, you're not even a Still
Gavin
Game
and
fan.
Stacey as well.
Gavin and Stacey.
That was a
Christmas
big one,
special.
aye.
They don't, well, I thought that looked a wee bit better than what like Still Game looked, but
Still Game looked too
It's
polished.
just the cameras, man. They
I
just-
know. I hate new cameras. Fucking G4, get an old one. Right, we're on a roll. Form is magic at the moment. It's really coming together at Celtic Park right now.
One team in Glasgow has to do it. One team
Well,
has to be in form.
you know, one team has to do it without relying on penalties.
true.
So, you know, just being honest. Just being honest.
Shelley Kerr, employee of Rangers TV, said it was a penalty, so I'll take her word for it.
Did she?
Yep.
Did she say it was a
She
penalty?
is ghastly, man. She frightens me.
That's nice of you.
Hartcliffe is hiring the one for my Elvis costume at the weekend.
She's like Jedward's mom.
I was saying in the group chat before this, right? So I was at Halloween this weekend. I hope everybody has a lovely night. Hope to see you up park with costumes on. But I said to Kieran, we should have filmed the night's podcast in our costumes. Me as John Lennon, him as Elvis. Fuck knows what you'd be right enough, but
Don't know.
you'd have to fit the mould of like rock stars.
We'll
Just
film
get a
the,
wee cardigan on, goes Ange.
you can film the post-match reaction on Saturday and I'll sit in the background in my Elvis costume.
This is Elvis with me. Right, Livy, tomorrow. We take on Livingston at Celtic Park. A big chance to right the wrongs of the Tony Macaroni a few weeks ago. We never struggle as much at Celtic Park. In
I
fact,
mean, apart from last season. After Dubai.
Yes, that's right. Well,
Depleted squad, but still,
Yes,
I
but
mean,
I remember
really confident
even
with a full squad back
I
then.
remember even was it no John Kennedy that dismantled them in one of these games on a 5 or 6-0 one of the
Yeah, it's
Kennedy
like
games.
6-0 or 6-1 or something.
Something like
El
that.
Yunusi scored a hat-trick in that game, or 2 goals?
Yes, I
or 3
think so.
goals.
God bless you, El Yunusi. So, like, we never struggle as much in terms of the overall record against Livingston tomorrow. They are still in a kind of a rut down at the bottom of the table. Ryan, it's one of those games. Like, I sit down to do these match previews every single week, and sometimes when you hit the Livingstons at Celtic Park, the Ross Counties at Celtic Park, the Dundees at Celtic Park, you don't have too much to say. You know, you expect Celtic to go out and do the bread and butter work. What are you expecting to see?
Hopefully goals, another good performance and get another 3 points. Clean sheet preferably as well. It's annoyed me that we conceded against Hibs because we were getting used to not conceding goals, but Livingston aren't as good when they're playing on a proper pitch, so I expect us to win this game and win it quite comfortably.
Kieran, I mean, we'll be there on Saturday. Well, both three of us will be there on Saturday, but of course we sit beside each other. We'll be there on Saturday. We won't be rough for a change, I don't think. It's one of those ones you expect Celtic to do the work. You just go in, sit there, enjoy the 90 minutes, leave a happy man. Like, you know, there's not much else to it when you play.
It's one of the games you hope for that. I mean, we've got no right to go in and just do that with these games, but realistically, Livingston at Celtic Park, they're going to come in, try and make it difficult for us. Hopefully we can get an early goal to try and dampen their spirits early doors, and hopefully that will just open the floodgates, because I'd like to see a really good convincing attacking performance again, and maybe even, because we're at Celtic Park especially, see it fully across the 90 minutes, because I feel like there's so many times at Celtic Park when we play these smaller teams, we score like 3 goals in the first half and then the second half's a bit of a drag. I just want to see, even freshen the team up at half time, change the striker, get a new winger on and just go for it again. Like, maybe not right at half time, but just to get, I don't know, I just want to see goals in each half.
I want to see one of the 6-0s, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
which we can get. But that's, you opened up the next conversation for me there, Kieran, in terms of, you know, rotation. There might not be Rogic available, as we know. We've got a big game next week against Ferencvaros on Thursday, so we've got to keep that in one side of the equation. It's a chance to maybe get the likes of Giacomakis back in. It's maybe a chance to give someone a shot in the midfield. you don't want to overly rotate to the point where you're
you've changed it.
you're fixing what a system that's not broken. But I would like to see Big Giacomakis, for example, back in the team. Maybe give Kyogo a rest before Thursday.
I wouldn't play him at wide. I'd give him the rest, to be
I
honest.
would
Yeah,
give him
me
the
too.
rest. I think
He's wasted at wide.
Yeah, it's like it's putting minutes in the legs that
The
don't need to
point
be
I
there.
make about Kyogo, but like he's not the most skillful of players. He's not even like he's pacey making the runs. I'm maybe not with the ball at his feet. His is about his football intelligence, getting into the space, seeing the runs. He's making them. It's just about finding space when he's got the ball at his feet. He's not as quick. He's not as skillful. Leave it to other people. Don't force him into tasks that he doesn't need to do. We've got the personnel to do that out wide. Let him play his best role up front, and it's going to be a bastard because we might not get to see as much of Giacomakis as we might like to, because he's shown glimpses. Obviously got that goal at the weekend, well last weekend now that people are watching, but I mean, and even last night he had a chance where he kind of fluffed it, but I think he slipped a wee bit.
The first time strike, the ball comes in, he hits it first time, he kind of falls. But
I don't know, he can definitely grab plenty of goals. He's a big guy up front as well, man, especially getting crosses into the box. It's something that we don't normally have any height up front, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. I do think there will be a bit of rotation, but as you said, we can't rotate too much.
overboard.
The game's not till Thursday next week as well, so it's no like we're
Yeah,
playing.
it's not the end of the world, I suppose. At one point, I just want to correct myself on before Ryan jumps on his point. That I've seen him. I think you have something you want to say, do you? No? Yeah, well, there was a point I wanted to bring up. I said Livingston still in a sort of rut at the bottom of the table. The last 3 games have actually been quite decent.
I was going to say, do they not win away?
1-2, drawn 1 through the last game against Dundee United on last
Aye,
night as we
but-
record this. They beat St Johnstone 3-0 with those comedy
That was
goals,
horrific.
and then they also beat Ross County 3-2 in Dingwall. So they are on a decent run of form. Livingston, you don't want to sleep on them. It's not like that way I'm coming out here and saying, oh, we have that divine right once more to beat them, but the bread and butter of Celtic Football Club
If we
is to
turn up
beat
and
them.
play the way we did on Wednesday, it should be a convincing win,
convincing
without a
win.
shadow of doubt.
I want to see Big Giacomakis busting it again, man. I really do.
I think he will start. I think
he will as
start
well.
Saturday.
I think he will as
I would
well.
like Kyogo to be on the bench as a sort of emergency, and we can only bring him on if we really need to.
I think Kyogo will start next Thursday, but I know
Yeah.
it's
Oh, he's got to,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Especially away from home.
I think for the bigger games, Kyogo will start, but Giacomakis brings a different sort of vibe to the team. You can put in balls.
I made this sort of comparison, not in terms of quality of player, that's not what I'm saying whatsoever, but in the match review of St Johnstone, I made this point about Moussa Dembele, right? Not saying that Giacomakis is Moussa Dembele, but one thing I noticed about him was his hold-up. I like that. I feel like we've not had that. And I know Edouard was good at it, but last season we were just hopeless. I feel like there was just something about it that was giving me wee glimpses to kind of what Moussa was able to do when he had his back to defenders. He'd hold it up, players would come wide. You used to have your Forrest, your Sinclair. They'd come wide, they'd open the game up, he'd even have an attack midfielder overlap them. I feel like we saw that against St Johnstone last week with the likes of, Jota, Kyogo, who was on the left last week, and then Rogic and Turnbull. I feel like we've got someone there who brings that quality to the game that Kyogo doesn't necessarily.
I think the physicality definitely plays into it, because especially it's the very fact of playing Livingston as well. It just clicked to me. It'd be a lot better suited for him because they'll end up booting Kyogo out of the park, and Giacomakis can hold it up, maybe try and.
His back's huge.
I think he could probably be quite a handful for any of their centre halves. I mean, I couldn't tell you who the starting centre halves are, but I'm going to tell you right now, it'll be a handful.
It'll be a handful for them. Aye, Ryan, I see you sharpening your breath there. What are you saying here?
I do want to see Giacomakis at the weekend, I'll be honest. I think that with the argument with Kyogo, we've got better options out wide, and that sounds terrible because Kyogo's such a good player, but I'd much rather have a Jota, a Bad, or Mikey Johnson out in the wing. It'll just be interesting to see who we go with at the weekend.
I think it'll be Jota and Mikey Johnson.
Mikey Johnson again. Yeah, we never really touched on Johnson.
He had an alright game.
Yeah, I was
feeling his way back in there.
When I was in your spaces last night, you asked the question like, what do you think of Johnson tonight? There was a couple of people in the spaces, I don't know who are they straight away came out with class. And I was like, let's calm down.
Yeah, there was a couple of decent moments. He was causing a bit of a problem for
that's
McGinn,
at the start. I think was his first start in 9 months. Wasn't expecting the world from him, but he's feeling his way back into the team, and that's what's important at the moment. Someone like him getting minutes in the games like Livingston, because you can't play him against Ferencvaros. You can't start him anyway. You can't.
It might give you something to think about.
Aye, but you look at someone who's been out for so long. You'd rather see him against Livingston than you would against Ferencvaros.
This is a good game for him.
It comes at a good time as well.
Yeah.
It comes at a good time. The same with that, but I think this wee run of games that we've had has been decent for him in regards to coming off the bench and getting starts. He's had time, and that's important for him.
I'm happy that Abada's getting a wee rest as well. because he looked as if he'd burned out a wee bit in games. So it's good to get him a rest. It's nothing against him at all. He's had a great start.
He's been in the team since he
Since he
signed.
signed.
Yeah,
You know, he was right in suddenly right after he signed.
and it'll be great to have Forrest back as well for another option out in the wing.
Because Abada played against Michelin, didn't he? The
Scored.
Game, he scored. That was
his
his
debut,
debut.
wasn't it?
And I think he only signed a few days prior.
Aye.
I couldn't be exact on that, but I feel like it probably was a few
He
days
was
back.
right in the team for the start of the season. He's been in there a long,
Sky's the
long
limit
time.
for him. But he's not the finished article yet, and he can
Nah.
be in and out the team
You never
without
had
it
it.
really.
You never had it.
I mean,
19.
because you can't. People might be like, "Oh, no, he's out of the team. He's not going to get back in." He's 19. Has he turned
Rotation?
20 yet?
20, yes, he has.
Oh, has
'Cause
he?
I
Oh,
remember
is he
seeing
20
stuff
now?
about birthdays and that
Happy
just when I said that.
birthday.
That's something I'm happy
Late.
about. They don't do as many happy birthday tweets. I couldn't be
We've
asked for
got more
that.
to tweet about this
He
season.
did tweet about Wim Jansen today though.
That
which
was
I'm very
nice.
happy
That
about.
was nice.
That's fine.
I thoughts with Wim Jansen, by the way, a shout out right now. Obviously revealed this week that he is struggling with dementia, which is a shame for absolutely anybody in the world. But Wim Jansen, of course, a very historic figure in Celtic Football Club's history, and thoughts with him. But let's go for our predictions then for the weekend. I know Kieran hates this segment, but against Livingston, it's not that bad.
I'll just go for the basic 3-0. I feel like that's a really good result at home, especially on a Saturday 3 o'clock. Now we're waiting for
He's got
McGinley's.
8-0.
5-0.
Gone for a 5.
I'd love a 5, but I'm trying to be as conservative here as well. So.
Oh, he's being
Bad words,
conservative.
bad words.
Oh.
Not in this podcast. Fucking Tories. I'm going to go for 4-0. I'll go in the middle. So we've got a 3-4-5.
Take any of those.
Oh, yeah. Look, listen, I said to you last week for the match preview against St Johnson, I'll happily. And you said, your response was, I wouldn't. I was like, I'd be happy with a 2-0 if
It's
they
the
perform
fact-
well.
You said 1-0. I wouldn't be happy for a 1-0 because it means we've struggled to score.
Well, it does.
It's the fact that the past few games we've left the game going like a brilliant performance, but it could have been more. This is a game I'd love to see us actually take all our chances and properly
It's like that
go for it.
Oasis meme. Am I happy with that? No, I'm
I
not.
want more.
I want more. So there's our predictions for Livy. Let us know yours in the comments below. If you're listening on Spotify, then feel free to tweet the account or something. I don't know. There's not much you can do when you're on Spotify. And thanks to all our Spotify listeners, the numbers keep going up and up and up on Spotify. So hopefully you'll see us high in those charts sometime soon. Right, what's next on my running order then? I wanted to go to you, Kieran Auld. I wanted to talk to you for a wee bit, mate.
I didn't see this in the running order.
It was like a teacher.
I
in their office.
did a hint at Kieran Hall to the principal's office. Yeah, Kieran, during the week you had your first opportunity at the fan media press conferences, which I very quickly want to add, Celtic have announced that there was going to be a sort of reshuffling of the fan media stuff, so hopefully you see some of our faces in and around more things soon. We'll wait and see. We need to hear more words on it, but we've had a kind of short briefing and we'll keep you updated as much as we can. But you were invited along. Well, we were all invited along, but we sent you to the Callum McGregor contract extension press conference 1 month later. We've been twice.
Aye,
We've been
exactly.
twice. We got to two.
We get 2 questions.
Who was at the first one? Us, Hamish, and a couple of other guys. When it was, I think it was only 4 years.
Celtic Star as well.
There was a 4 years or something like
And
that.
Arden as well. from
Aye,
Celtic
so there was
again.
like, so this time everybody got a turn at going this time as they scheduled it at a decent time for us.
They give people more than 45 minutes
Yes,
to prepare.
yes. And Kieran, you managed to turn up and speak to the captain. Overall, what did you make of? We'll come at your question in a moment. We'll discuss it as a free. But what did you make of Captain Cal? I mean, obviously a change at Celtic for him being captain this season. But in terms of how he was speaking and all the rest of it, it seemed
I mean,
nice.
he speaks like a captain now. I mean, it's somebody last season that even we doubted. Because I mean, there was definitely points last year if I or Steid were like, I would make him captain. So I mean, it's good to see him step up, because in the past people thought he might be too quiet or that, but when you hear him talk, like, you can tell that he is a leader in the changing room, and that's actually good to see, because I feel like a lot of people, because he's been with Celtic for so long, they've seen him coming in as a young guy, they kind of sort of shake that, hang in their head that he's not going to be this loud voice in the dressing room, but he's shown it on the park this season and everything. Like, but just the way he was answering the questions and that is pretty well media trained.
Well media trained. I've sent him a crash course, bang.
They definitely have.
Oh, you can see
it's
it.
night and day
Aye.
considering some of his, well, compared to some of his earlier press
I
conferences.
love him, but he's great, and you know, I had the chance to sit down and watch Hamish's video. Shout out to Hamish, and he kind of showed the kind of whole presser and all the kind of key points, and there was a lot of stuff that was great to hear, and it's great to hear Captain speak so enthusiastically about everything at Celtic at the moment, and it is just a sort of night and day one, and I know we keep saying this, but you can't help but acknowledge how different it is from last season. I remember right before Lennon was sacked, it was the day before, I'd done a back pages the day before, I think, Lennon was sacked, and the headline article was Scott Brown. It was an interview by Scott Brown, and he was saying like, "Oh, there's something wrong in here. We're not us." Blah blah blah. And you don't want to see your captain come out and say that, So it is night and day.
That was one of the most concerning things of last season, and then the other one was McGregor, because he was brave enough to go and take some of the post-match interviews straight after we'd had some terrible defeats or draws, but a lot of the draws felt like defeats last season. And he said, "We don't really know what we're doing out there."
Somebody brought that up at the presser. They said it was like the disjointed sort of thing.
20-minute Times that brought that up.
Aye, but saying how last season, like, you're having to come out and say we're disjointed, we don't know what's gone wrong in that, and it is just night and day now.
Aye.
We've got a distinct style of play.
We've got a bash of style of play. But you brought up, your question was about the new...
Question courtesy of Ryan McGinley.
Oh, well, he's giving them the credit. Like, he's chuffed with eyes like that.
I'll take that.
I'm not stealing it.
It's not mine. You asked the question about our new sports scientist, Anton McElhone.
Yep.
And about his impact in the club and how he's been since he came in, and especially to the aid of players like Mikey Johnston, who is recovering from injury, and he spoke about how he's been a great addition that backstage. Ryan, it was your question, so I'll come at you first. There's once again, I'll use this phrase, night and day difference since this guy's came in.
Yeah, even in the 2-3 weeks since he's been through the door, the performance levels have improved so much. Like, it's not just coincidence that this guy's came in 3 weeks ago and the performances have got better. It's obviously down to his methods. If you don't have somebody in sports science, then that's negligence, really. There's got to be somebody in that position, and I'm glad that that's filled now, and the players are getting... They're a lot better in games. It's been a lot better. I think the one that really impressed me was the game against Motherwell, the way we just controlled the game after we went 2-0 up. I was really impressed by that. And long may that continue. Hopefully we can get more people in, maybe in the scouting department as well, and get this rebuild going even further. Yeah,
the players look fitter. That is one of
absolutely.
they look fitter, and obviously sports science a big part of that. Kieran, when you brought it up, I think there's a lot of people that are guilty, and especially, maybe this isn't me targeting anybody, but I think a lot of people don't so much look at the modern aspect of football now, and sometimes underplay
Lennon.
Yeah, Lennon, aye. Some people underplay how key these guys are and that, but you heard even McGregor's answer.
There's a lot of people behind the scenes that are working hard, but they want to see results and that, and it's true. I mean, he spoke, to hear him and also Mikey Johnson came out before that and speak so highly of the guys. He's only been in the door a month, and as you said, we can see the clear improvement. It goes back to the way we were under, I'm not saying we're back to the way we were under Rodgers, but I mean, when Rodgers came in, his implementation was fitness. We need to be the fittest team in the league.
Yep.
Everybody else got to tire out. We need to keep up for 90 minutes. Everybody needs to do that. I mean, it sounds so basic saying fitness and levels, but I mean, you need to be a class above the rest in every aspect, off the pitch, on the pitch, and hopefully we can get back to the level of professionalism that we need at a club like Celtic, and we don't slip back into, we're not going to, but
old habits.
Last season, where there was very clearly there was a distinct lack of any regimentation, fitness or anything, because you've seen the Nickies last year.
Blowing it at us. 60, 70 minutes into a game.
You knew 60 minutes in, if the game wasn't 2-3-0, well, not even 2, 3-4-0 up, we were in trouble because other teams can smell blood.
It was almost like Lennon was having a competition to see who could be the unfittest, and he didn't want to win it. Like, he wanted someone else. He wanted a Yeti to win it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just so glad he's gone, I'll be honest. I know we've talked about it to death, but I'm just so glad we've got a manager with standards now.
I think the end of season special will be the Lennon's gone celebration again. Just, when we look at the difference. And
I think he'll get his own category for all his outbursts that he's came up.
Oh, I forgot we'll have an awards thing at the end of the season as well, like we did last year, and all
Hopefully we'll
that
have
jazz.
the title. Fingers crossed.
Do you know what's going to be sad? Do you know what category we have to remove this year? The Celtic TV Personality of the Year. Because we've not been watching in Celtic TV, and that'll be gone.
I did check it a couple of months ago, and it was still running, the Path to Paradise. I think it'll be done now, but there's a couple of games. Yeah.
Like, who needs it now? Like, I mean, I guess it's handy. This is the reason I thought they might have kept it on was in case you
self-isolation.
Yeah, you're in self-isolation.
No, the bastards never done that, because I had to pay money to watch the Alkmaar game when I had COVID.
Well, to be fair, that wouldn't be on the Path to Paradise anyway.
No, but that's what I mean. But like,
that'd been on pay-per-view.
I'd paid for the ticket for the game, and then I had to pay again to watch it online.
Right, yep,
so I'm not sure there had to be back
right.
then something in place to.
Aye.
You owe me money, Celtic.
Get a fucking thing at it. So yeah, sports science, massive thing in the world of modern football, and it's a step towards modernisation, as Don Mackay used to say. Rest in piss. And
He's got a new job now.
aye, I know he's choking to get back to the rugby, mate. Choking to get back to it. He took one look at football and went, "Nope, it's not for me." No,
Exactly.
we don't know the stories behind the scenes. I'm joking, Dom. Best of luck with your new job, mate. You can
Just
wait.
came out with rest and pissed. That's mental. Did you not see what I done? I took a picture of my Venom and said, "Here's to you."
Oh, Don Mackay, that's right. When you were in the cat house.
Do you know what? It was a good transfer window he gave us. So
When you gone back to the cat house?
hopefully soon.
Oh,
Aye, we'll
nice.
see.
The cat house, a place that I will never step.
See, you just said that as a passing comment there, but see, it just made me think.
About the rest in piss.
No, the transfer window, like, because we sat here and slated it.
Aye.
I still think we're a bit.
Oh, we're still thinning the ground. I'm not letting the wool being pulled over
No,
my eye.
a
you
few
know.
good results isn't going to take
You
away
look,
from the
look
ineptness.
if McGregor got injured,
Aye,
oh,
we've seen it already this season. As soon as McGregor's injured, we're very thin in the midfield. And even if Rogic is out, we've got Beaton there, he's better in midfield and cover at the back, but it's still got to be a completely different feel to the game. Because if we've got, I know people like McGregor further up, but if you've got Beaton playing his role, he's not as quick on.
you seen it
the
last
turn.
night.
Mhm.
You noticed it night and day
Slows the
straight
play
away.
down.
Aye,
But that's why we need better personnel in the midfield.
See, last night I think we figured out where McGregor's position was as well, because he wasn't as effective when he went further forward, in my opinion. He was a lot better playing, sort of dictating the plays at number 6. I think that's his position.
changes every week, but then like genuinely,
I know, but
I get you. I
Versatility.
do get you. He's a versatile guy.
He
Aye.
prefers playing in the 8, I know that, but I really liked him as the number 6 because he's passing.
Who
range
can he
is
be that?
brilliant.
He's number 42.
And on that note,
no, thanks for listening. Right, we'll kind of move on. We'll transfer over to another topic now. This was something we kind of toyed with bringing up, and I didn't. So there was something that came out on Twitter today
Yep.
about Celtic employing ACC Bernard Higgins to a senior role within the club, who. I had no idea who he was when this came out, but may I just say, take all this with a pinch of salt. There's been nothing to suggest this is a true story, but to give you some background, Higgins was personally responsible for a vindictive policing campaign which targeted the Celtic supporting fans of all clubs. If you remember the famous, what was it again, the Offensive Behaviour at Footballs Act. And yeah, apparently along that sort of time period was very much against football fans, very much against.
if you've been named and shamed in a banner by the support, should you really be getting employed?
Yes.
Sounds like he's a perfect fit for the Celtic board.
Yeah, you know, they hate the fans. They detest us.
and Wilson's comments as well today. What's his name? Brian Wilson's comments.
Mm-hmm.
I won't mention them because it will bring up the wrong sort of people that'll be like, oh,
I
he's
love
talking
the
about
Beach
Seth
Boys,
going
I
that.
Oh, I love the Beach Boys. Aye, oh Christ,
But-
Brian Wilson. Would it
But
be
that's
nice?
just comments that you shouldn't be making.
See,
as a
Bill,
board
I don't know
member.
if you do want to, but you might want to save it for after the show. But I have no idea what these comments
Yeah,
are.
that's
You just
fine.
got to save it for after the show to tell me.
Yeah, it's basically saying that Rangers were demoted when everybody knows that wasn't the case,
I know, it was, I used the word demotion because they got put in administration or something.
and they were demoted. That wasn't really the case. We all know that wasn't the case.
Right, so that's right. Okay, I
you
get
can
you.
see why I wasn't.
Less said, the better.
Yeah,
sort of
pretty
thing.
much.
Yeah,
But
but
it's
I
not-
never heard that.
It's not. It's
no
not
idea.
the sort of comment that a board member should be coming out with and saying.
Yeah, but this story about Higgins being appointed now, I don't think there's anything in the story that suggests what role he'll have at the club.
It just said a role.
A
at
role, a
Celtic.
senior role at Celtic.
There's somebody with the same name that used to be involved with Tesco as well that I've heard being talked about as well. So it could be like a mistaken identity.
I might know him.
Possibly.
I might know
Maybe
him.
Stevie
Bernard
might know him.
Higgins,
Maybe
director
it's
of football.
Maybe it's Stevie. I know Stevie was
Stevie?
involved in Tesco. Aye, your dad.
My dad.
I'm just thinking supermarkets putting 2 and 2 together.
Well, he was more of a kind of like shop than a supermarket.
See, I like that.
He was more of a like
He knows
Which
his
shop
locals.
was it?
Well, it used to be Galbraith's back in the.
Because my dad every time says, I recognise Ryan's dad. I was like, he managed some shop up.
He's managed shops everywhere. Honestly, ask. He's been
See?
fucking all over the place.
Because it was that name. He said, I definitely said
Galbraith's, which then turned into, I think it was Safeway, which then turned into the
Morrison's.
co-op, and then I think
Safeway, then Morrison's.
So I think he left Safeway and then he finished at the co-op. So he's been
a
everywhere.
brief history of Stevie.
There's my dad's history. People got them watching. You're dying to the Galbraith's Lockdock Road.
Truly one of the greats.
One of the greats, mate.
God bless him.
I've got to film a documentary about Stevie. just a documentary about sit him in this studio with a camera on and asking him daft questions. It's going to be a hit.
Biggest Stevie in Glasgow for sure.
Oh yes. I mean, what other Stevies is there?
Exactly.
What else is there? I mean, my middle name's Stephen as well. So, right. Well, it is one of those ones that we'll need to see what happens and what comes out over the next few days, weeks, whatever. If it is the right guy, if it is the right job, we don't know what it is. But if it does lead to that point, it is not good reading. And it's once again another decision by the Celtic board over the last 18 to 24 months, which equals to
Tone deaf.
As I tweeted earlier, they're on a sugary peg, the board, still, for last season. No matter how good we're doing this season or how much better we're doing recently, the fans won't forget last season and the absolute contempt that they showed us. And I just worry with all the fan media stuff that came out today. I was wondering if that was in the offing, that appointment to sort of sweeten us up. And I hope that isn't the case, but we've seen stuff like this happen before.
Yes. Exactly. Right, we're on about 50 minutes, so I don't want to waste too much more on anything. I was going to bring in the Ferencváros game, but I'll save that for post-Livy, in case, we don't know what's going to happen in the week. There's no point in diving into it too much. We might have another impromptu show before then. If not, then it'll be a preview show of some form anyway.
If you're doing it on Sunday, I will not be there.
No, nobody will be there on Sunday. Don't you worry. I plan to be like John Lennon, dead. In the fucking mud.
Wife beater.
Gone. Oh, whoa, now.
He was?
Hey,
That's Ryan's costume.
I'm going out as a fucking wife beater. Is that what you're saying?
You're going to dress up as Stan Collymore then? Well, that's a
Jesus
shocker.
Christ almighty.
That's getting cut.
Stan Collymore might watch the show for all,
It's still a wife beater, isn't he?
It's not getting cut. Right, let's move into the Twitter question section of the show, Ryan, which I always let you host. So
yeah,
I'll let you go unless there's
20.
There's quite a few.
Got
about 20 beans yourself, for fuck's sake. I'll let you, Ryan, go about it in the way that I like, but if you think there's one that we should both answer, then let me know. Just give one to me, one to Kieran, whatever you want.
Because there was an argument that started between you and Buick as well on this.
That's
It's
right.
really mucked up my...
Because I left out. Did you like the photo, by the way?
Yes, although I wanted to be Kawhi Leonard.
Well, I didn't. I wasn't allowing that.
No,
I don't know who any of them are in the photo, to be honest.
You don't know Kawhi?
No.
He's a fun
Who's the other two?
Is that Ginobili?
It's not fucking Ginobili.
He's number 5 for them.
I don't know.
Who's that?
I don't know. I think they're two bit part players for that.
Is that why?
Well, no, it's just...
Did you not find a picture of Ginobili and Tony Parker? No.
What about Tim Duncan?
He'd have been retired by that point.
No, he wouldn't. If he was playing, was he not?
Was he?
Aye, but no, because you know how I'll tell you why I picked that photo, because I wanted the photo of Rodman, Pippen, and Jordan, but I couldn't find it. Well,
you couldn't find a photo.
The main thing was I wanted them to have cigars, so I couldn't. Right. So then I typed in basketballers with cigars.
3 basketballers with cigars.
Basketballers with cigars. And that was the first one of 3 that came up, so I just used that. Right, on you go, Ryan. Son. It's like that time we were in uni and I typed in.
We were sitting there on the film lecture and we were sitting looking at best looking Chinese meals.
I just typed in best looking Chinese
quality.
Right, on you go, mate.
So AJ Celtic.
Hero! Shout out to the man.
Great gear.
Celtic are not after dark.
We do not condone the taking of drugs on our show, Ryan.
No, have this coke, not the other one.
It's like, what was that? Scott Brown, where there's Peter Martin. They was talking about. Remember the man? It was a cut for the live show they done. It was in the Hydro or something. It was a Brendan Rodgers night, I think, the night of the Danny McGrain story, and it was like Peter Martin says something about like, oh, Bruni used to get his gear or something like that, and everybody starts laughing. It's fucking gone. Anyway, go.
Right back dilemma: Ralves or Urano?
Both.
Yeah, pretty much. Although I would probably play Juranovic at right back on Saturday and give Ralston a rest and put Montgomery left back.
When's Scales going to get in the team?
I don't know if I'd give Montgomery the game at the weekend.
No.
Yeah. What is happening with Bolly, by the way? What is happening there?
It's weird because you can only be trusted away from home, and that clearly wasn't the case last
I can't
season.
mind who put up the tweet about Bolly, but somebody made a great comparison. It didn't bang or anything, I don't think. Then if it's you put up the tweet,
Bolly did. That was his problem.
But somebody put up a tweet. It's like Bolly's the equivalent of like the last minute phone call when you need somebody at 5s.
Yeah,
it makes up the 5th number. That's what Bolly is.
What a legend, man.
But I like both of them at the moment. But if I was to pick one and one only, People have got to think I have an agenda, but I'd be picking Juranovic.
Croatian internationalist.
I just want to see him actual at right back,
Aye,
getting
same.
shunted it to left back.
And the second part of the question, because the third one is a question for me, I don't know if I can answer that or not.
Okay, I'll read it out.
Okay, that's fine. Should we be alternating Gigi and Kyogo to keep us fresh up top during games? A half each seems Kyogo is wasted out wide.
I mean, we've kind of touched on this that we'd like to see a bit of rotation. I don't know about a half each, but
I don't want to get to that point where you're almost playing a video game and you're like, oh, I want to use both of them for 45. You've got to manage it the way that it should be managed.
I think Kyogo will probably play most of the game next Thursday, but it'll be the other way about at the weekend.
It's like an FM. It's easy to go, right, I'll give him 45, I'll give him 45. This is real fucking life, you know what I mean? So
real feelings and all that.
Yeah. So it just, rotation's key, but at the right times.
I'd like to see Gigi start.
And the third question is, can we get McGinley to record voicing support for the Republican movement?
Yes.
On record.
On record.
Yes, I do support the Republican movement.
Well, there he goes. There's the.
Remember what happened to that guy? Remember when
I
we
was going to say
seen
what
him
happened to the
in Red?
Republican movement. I was like,
We haven't gone away, you know.
we haven't gone away, you know.
No, whereas that guy, remember the guy that used to say all well and good, but does he support
on
the
every new
Republican movement?
signing.
Aye. Like it was so weird when
I
Kundai
don't know if
Benyu
it's
signed.
just the same guy or no, but it's like
Someone
just a
like
common
Paddy
thing to
Brennan.
say.
Oh, aye, I do remember that.
Paddy Brennan or something like that.
Aye. I don't know his name. I
Remember really weird things.
We know.
Get off me. I'm just going through all of these are Beans. Beans is talking about Rogic, which is quite funny because he was slagging him every other week.
Aye.
Is Rogic being injured the best thing to happen to Celtic this season since McGinley's hair transplant?
I mean, it did come out of nowhere, right? To be fair, it did come out of absolutely nowhere. What Turkish city did you visit for that?
Chifchi got me a discount.
Oh, Chifchi, aye, big Chifchi.
Remember he got one halfway through.
You went Kiermaier there and you were pointing.
That's
He's got a
pending.
beautiful hair
That's
there.
pending.
Don't let that fool you, son. Don't let that
That's
fool
a
you.
comb over.
Rogic, why is he so against Rogic, man?
I don't know.
He's so against him. Support your team, man. Support your fucking players. Right, next.
Okay.
I'll let you guess why, Kieran.
Reese asks, is the Turnbull/Rogic partnership finally coming good, or should we still try and play with 110?
I don't know. I mean, for the time being, it's going to need today because we've not got anybody else to actually come in. I'm happy with they two starting, but as I said earlier, the both of them need to be at the top of their game. Otherwise, it doesn't.
Yep.
It's not as fluid as you'd like it to be.
Lovely.
Yep. So I'll try to go through. There's a lot of Shagmani Kills ones here. How many years would you extend Tony Ralston's contract for? What term do you think would best reflect his ability as a player and value at the club long term?
It was, interestingly enough, I like this questions came up because I was going to make a video, as this is recording Thursday night. My video today I was thinking about was Tony Ralston. I was going to talk about, the contract extension we need. I seen something the other day on Twitter that apparently at one end there's talk of a team in Anderlecht, I think it was, looking at Tony Ralston.
Really?
I don't know if that was bollocks, but I seen something on Twitter about it.
I think if Celtic put it in front of him, he's going to sign
Yeah,
it.
he's going to stay to come. I would give him, 2-3 year deal maybe.
3-4. I'd give him 4.
I was thinking about this earlier. I seen this question come in. I was like, maybe a 3-year extension, but at the same time, I think it'll probably be a 2-year one to just evaluate how he's
How his
progressing.
development goes.
Because with all due respect, I don't know if it's going to be a case if he gets in the team, is he going to start to get looked at after teams doing south and that? Is he a player that's going to go in for big money?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so personally. I don't think he's going to reach the lofty heights of that, but
Aye.
I still think he's going to be a very good player for us. And
An asset, to say the least.
prove me wrong, Tony. Go and get your move to Barcelona.
Manchester United. They
Probably
need
get a
him.
game for Barcelona the now,
I know.
man. Jeez, oh. Has Jota filled the space in McGinley's heart that he had for Lovric? It's 50-50 at the moment.
Oh, you're joking. Get at him, man. He's not coming.
He could come.
He's not fucking-
He's in the Croatian national side now.
He's no coming to Sellik.
Juranovic can have a wee word with
He's
him.
no coming to
He might.
Sellik.
He might.
Michael, get over it.
Yeah.
He's not coming back.
He's not coming
She's
back.
away. She's away.
She's not coming at all. What's that my video of Donald Trump I keep using?
No.
I'm gonna come.
Oh, yeah, right, you've done it.
I'm going to do this one from Beans as well. If you went for dinner with Paul McStay, Martin O'Neill and Scott Brown and they were all sharing anecdotes and stories about Celtic, what story, anecdote would you tell them about your own favourite Celtic memory, interaction with someone at the club, etc.? That's a great
I
question.
had to think about this
really
earlier.
good, did
and
you?
Mate, it's no one directly today with actual at a game or nothing, but my granny and granda used to take me to St Mary's every Saturday.
Oh,
like,
I know
for
this
mass
story,
at night. And every week we'd go, and my granddad would always say that's Stevie Chalmers there.
Aye.
And obviously at the time I was like fucking 8-year-old, so I never really fully grasped it. And I remember one time I got his autograph and that, but if I still had that, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was just in a wee scrap of paper or something.
Aye.
But it's something I couldn't really appreciate at the time. But I mean,
what's the other story about Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink?
oh, Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink. After I forgot about that one. After the 125th anniversary mass at St Mary's, everybody was back on Celtic Park for like mince and totties or something like that, or a steak pie or something shit like that. And my granddad's got his. I look here and Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink's just sitting tucking into a wee plate of his cell. I was too nervous to go and get a photo.
Oh, brilliant. I can't picture Jan
12-year-old
Vennegoor.
me also seen Peter Lawwell that night, and 12-year-old me was still pretty raging about the fact that I'd paid £75 extra for the Old Firm games.
You can't let this go.
Yeah, I paid £75. I'd done my paper and I'd saved that money up. £75 extra, and what games did I get? Dundee. What did I get for the Superstore? A £30 voucher? Like, fuck off, couldn't even buy a fucking rain jacket with that. I know, I'm sitting there. The one with the zip just splits off like I'm walking to school with the wind walking on my way to first year, fucking the wind howling, man, but oh,
Jesus.
I wish I gave him a piece of my mind that night, man.
Oh, Christ.
You would have shown him.
12-year-old me gone for it in the middle of the Kerrydale Street.
I can't think of necessarily any stories off the top of my head. I generally need to sit down and have a good long hard think about it. I just feel like I'm not that interesting a person. Like, I don't have much to say. Like, I bet if it hasn't directly been related to meeting somebody or anything, there's bugger all. To be quite honest, I'd maybe tell the story about hiding in the toilets in Rome when the Lazio fans came calling.
Did we not already tell that on this?
We did. I was only like last week or something.
I know, it's fresh in the mind.
Fresh in the mind, aye. That maybe that. I don't know. I'd have to go away and think. It's too long to sit and think. There was a time after we beat Rangers, I think it was the 5-0 at Parkhead, and we tried to go to the Squirrel. During
oh Christ,
the gag, you're stringing your head now. We tried to go to the Squirrel. Number one, my trousers didn't fit me that night, so they I didn't have a belt, and my jeans kept like falling down, and I was getting proper fucking
You're moaning about it full fucking time, man.
But we tried to go to the Squirrel, and we all looked about 13 or something at the time.
I was 17.
We were 17. You were 17. I was 18 at the time. But we tried to go to the Squirrel, and they were like, "No, no, tonight. There's been too much trouble or something." I can't mind. So we're like,
You said it was full. I'm sitting there looking in like, no, it's not.
No, it was empty. So we start walking away for the Squirrel, and that's fucking huge, by the way. He's like,
Scary bastard.
Scary bastard, right? Massive. And he comes over, and there's me, him, and like two of our other pals, 2 or 3 of our pals in a group. And he comes there, and he's like, "All right, lads, how you doing? Right, who wants a fight?" And he starts like throwing his hands up, and he's a Sellik fan. And all of us are like, and he's being proper seat, like he's genuine. Like,
I've never seen such a change in mood.
Because he starts with, "Aye, how you all doing? Right, who wants a fight?" And he throws his hands up, and he starts fucking darting a bit like that, and everybody starts like dispersing. And like he's proper trying to go for my pal Kieran Allwyn. He's trying to fucking proper go for him, and Kieran's like getting out the road. Me and Kieran have crossed the road at this point. He's fucking shouting abuse. Like, no, I've missed a part of the story. I've missed the part.
This man's mid trying to punch Ryan here.
Mid trying to go for me.
Ryan's compliment his tattoos. He's like,
So-
done. Talk about it like Henry Kissinger.
He's ready to go for me, right? He's got the fist up, ready to swing for me, and I go, "Mate, where'd you get your tattoo? My uncle's got that."
Just trying to confuse him.
Do you
He's like,
know what image I've got in this? Have you ever watched the SpongeBob movie?
Aye,
You know when they're trying
of
to get in the club? Or that might be a different, that might be an actual SpongeBob episode.
No,
the pure big
aye,
buff guys.
aye, and then they blow who blew their bubble? Aye.
No,
Like,
the
so-
gets me for that, but is David Pierce shouting across the street, "Help!" It's such a mad woman walking by him. How is he going to take away and start punching buckets?
So him and David have crossed the road, right? And me and Kieran are trying to calm the matter.
Was Kieran even there?
Aye, I'm sure he was.
I think he was.
Was he
Did
no?
mean Mark?
Mark, aye, also it was no Kieran Allwyn, aye. Mark, we're trying to calm the matter while trying to get away from the two across the
mind
road.
them.
David's sitting shouting, "Help! Help!" And Kieran's just going, "Ah, you fucking Fruit Loop, you fucking idiot!" No, he's just
Right, we had a safe like, 2 lanes of traffic between us, but so, I mean, I could have outran him. He was a big fella.
Maybe I was a big fella. Aye, we got away from him, we were all safe in the end, unscathed, and my trousers kept falling down on the way to KFC.
That walk up to fucking Parkhead McDonald's, man, you sitting like that every 2 seconds.
Oh, don't mate, my trousers are coming off.
Flasher.
Oh,
James
listen.
Forrest in a nightclub.
Christ. Right, is there any more questions? I'm ready to move on to the next question.
I was happy. We got very sidetracked there, man.
It's good, I enjoyed that.
I'm just having a wee look.
Having a wee scroll there.
Oh, there we go, another one from Beans. Beans has really held it up this.
Aye, might as well invited him on this week, yeah.
He wants it. Loanees are performing for Celtic this season. If you could bring one previous loan player back in their prime, who are you picking and why? I personally think Bellamy or Keane would be unreal under Ange.
I was actually thinking Keane there, but I'm trying to think who we need to know, like in terms of position.
Yeah.
Bellamy's a shout as well, though. Bellamy's a really good shout. That's good.
It's a good question, isn't it?
That's a good question.
Wish I'd seen that and I'd have prepared an answer, but
Jeremy Tillyan.
oh,
We
Christ,
Jerry.
man.
Oliver Burke.
So this is loan players.
Everybody's
One
got
you-
comments coming. Paddy Roberts.
Nah, because Jota's just a better version of Paddy Roberts.
Yes. That's a really good question, by the way. I really,
I'd
really
love to see El Yunusi playing this team.
El Yunusi.
Under McElhone as well.
El Yunusi. What a shout, by the way. What a
That's
shout. I know it's very recent, but a really good
He's
shout.
doing well for Southampton. He's getting his game now, and I'm happy for him. But it's hurting me a wee bit.
I'm surprised you've not said Buck, Ryan.
I did. I said Oliver Burke.
Did you?
After I said Tillyan, I went
you
Oliver
got
Burke.
outed for your
James
previous
caught
tweet
me.
side-eyes them.
James caught me.
I think Denier could be a good one as well.
Denier's a really good shout as well,
Right.
actually. Really good shout. I was trying to think of defensive ones, but there wasn't
Very nice.
anybody that came to the top of my
I'm just
head.
trying to go through my head all these loan players,
Oh,
especially in their prime.
Timo Weir.
Timo Weir. He'd be a good asset to Ange, I think, but then again,
He's had a lot of problems with his injuries, hasn't he?
has he? I've not kept up with him.
I mean, he's
had a really bad
hardly
injury.
got a prime either, to be fair.
My final answer's El Yunusi.
You would hope that he isn't in his prime just
I
now.
know.
You would hope there's something better
Right,
coming.
you pick one only. El Yunusi.
El Yunusi.
I would just agree with that because I can't
There
think of anybody
you
else.
go with that. Cool. Right, and is that us? Is that,
so.
is that the 12 questions? Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you
everybody.
for...
No shag manny kill ones because I mean there was, but I'm just not like reading them out.
Alright, okay. Was there any good ones, though?
Neil
what-
Jockstein. Come on.
Right, let's go to the end of the show, but very quickly, if you do want to get involved in future episodes and have your say on the show and ask any questions to the panellists, then make sure to go and follow us over on Twitter at Sellik Podcast, that's SELLIK Podcast, and keep an eye out for the tweets every week asking for your questions. Now then, it's time for the last portion of the show. It's everybody's favourite part of the show. It's time for the Sellik the Funder. If you know your history quiz. Matthew Duff has prepared this one this week, which
I
is
guess I'm doing it then.
fantastic, which means that Kieran Auld and Ryan McGinley will be up against one another tonight. Now, I don't remember who's won at what point, who maybe won last, who hasn't.
That beat Callum in the last one.
Maybe so. It's maybe so.
Okay. It was the one that was all about like the one after Celtic. No, wait, I beat. It was the one with all the Motherwell questions.
And I think you beat me.
Yeah, it was you because Callum was reading them out.
So there you go. Kieran Auld was our last winner on the Sellik the Thunder quiz, I believe. So, Kieran, I'll allow you, mate. Do you want to go set A or set B this evening?
Set B.
Set B. He's going for set B, which means Ryan McGinley, you're up first then.
Let me start. Did you see that edited picture? All the time in the window.
Oh, Christ almighty.
It's just that Juranovic and Hart. Sorry.
That is
concentrating.
good. That is good. Right. I wonder if Neil Lennon's getting escorted out somewhere on that photo. Get off me.
Get off me.
Get off me.
Really disappointed.
We're trying to get you up the road, Neil. Right. Okay. Question number 1.
Who's this for? Who's
You.
Right, sure.
Cool.
Right. Ange Postecoglou
Beautiful man. I love him.
is the first ever non-European Celtic manager. True or false?
Non-European.
Silence. As
I'm
you
just
think.
going through it. Wait a minute. Non-European.
Non-European. He's taking his time. He wants to get us one.
That's got to be true.
That's got to be true. It is true. It is. Well done. 1-0 to Ryan. Of course, the only foreign managers I believe I've had is Liam Brady of the Republic of Ireland, Wim Janssen of Holland, Venglos of Slovakia,
Ronnie
I
Deila.
can't remember, Ronnie Deila. And I believe that's all of the foreign managers in Celtic's history. The rest have been either Scottish, English, Northern Irish. That's it. So, well done. Okay, question number 1 for you, Kieran Auld. Who has scored more league goals this season in their respective leagues? Anthony Ralston or Ivan Toney?
Oh, I don't even know how many Tony's scored. I've never been
Good
kept up
question.
with.
Matthew Duff always gets great questions.
I'll
out
go
the box.
Ralston.
Correct.
That's true.
That is right.
I think Tony's only scored 2 or 3.
Tony scored 2, and Ralston scored 3 in the leagues, in their
the
respective
league,
leagues, in the domestic competitions. So there you go. 1-0. Good start. Right. Ryan McGinley. 5 Celtic Academy graduates were in the squad that travelled to Easter Road, with 3 starting. Name them all. Name all 5. Name all 5 of them.
Right, so Academy players.
Academy graduates.
Academy Ralston,
Yes.
Mikey Johnson,
Yes.
Cal McGregor.
Yes.
Oh, this is pressure.
2 more to
I
get.
can't even mind the bench last night.
Monty.
Monty. 1 more.
Just going through them in my head. Oh dear.
He's got to think fast.
No, there isn't a time limit on this, surely.
I got a time limit last night in TSF. I was fucking fuming. I was.
So who have I got so far? I've got
You've
Monty.
You've got Monty,
Mike
Ralston, McGregor, and Johnston. Those are the 4 you've got so far.
I don't even know who was in it. I don't even remember checking the bench last night. To be
Nah,
honest.
neither do
Ralston.
You've
you.
already
Said
said
Ralston,
him.
you fucked it,
No,
mate.
no.
Oh, my God. You just, no, that's not how it works. You said fucking Ralston again.
No, if I've already got it, then.
Alright, well, go, right, hurry up. And I will begin your fucking countdown.
Wait a wee minute.
Wait, I'm not waiting a minute, right.
Welsh.
Welsh, correct.
I wasn't sure if he was on the bench or not.
Matthew Duff is sitting clenching whatever object he's holding. As we
Played in a
put it.
while, man. Is that since Livingston?
Yep,
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so,
It was the
aye.
last time. Right, question 2 for you, Kieran Old. Celtic were not able to wear any of this season's kits at Easter Road due to a kit clash. So which kit did Celtic wear instead?
Last season's away kit.
Oh, you fucked it.
Was that a third kit?
Aye, the away was the Love Street
So
one.
it was.
Aye,
I mean,
dumpling.
Would I have got it for just describing it?
The black one with
That's
the Glover.
But the one that you seen last night.
Do you know what? Interesting. First time that kit had ever been worn in front of fans. Just like any of last season's
it's not
kits
that
would have been.
fucking-
Well, I think we wore one of. Did we? I don't know. Right. Okay. Question number 3 for McGinley to establish quite a lead here. Which player has had the most assists in all competitions for Celtic this season?
Turnbull.
Correct. I would have gave you it for any of the 2. Turnbull and someone else can in his name. The other one. 5 is the number.
Wow. Ralston.
Jota.
Already?
5 assists already this
Jeez,
season.
instant impact.
Yeah. So, question 3, Kieran, you need this to claw it back a little bit. Celtic legend Scott Brown scored at Ibrox last night to reduce the point gap, but what was the score after he scored?
2-0.
2-0. Correct. 16th minute goal.
I thought I was
for
going to get
Scott.
asked what fucking minute it was in.
I saw was at first, to be honest, when I seen the 16th minute starting there. There you go. 3-2. Ryan, to make it 4-2. Impressive addition to the team. Cameron Carter-Vickers wears the number 20 shirt, but who was the last player to wear it? Good question.
I'm just trying to think if there's somebody after Boyata that's wore that. Number 20. Frimpong's 30. There's going to be somebody in between, I think. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Wasn't him. What a joke.
I don't get that. What do you mean?
No, you went oh dear and I went it wasn't him.
OD? Oh my
No,
God.
well, no, I just oh dear. It doesn't matter, Ryan. Just take a guess, mate.
I'll just go Boyata. But I'm not.
It's not Boyata, Kieran. Do you have any clue?
Nah.
Marian Shved,
Was he?
number 20.
Was he?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Fuck's sake.
But you wouldn't know, you know. Marian Shved is the last player to wear number 20. So, Kieran, a big chance to equalise here. Which ex-Hibernian player was in the Celtic squad that travelled to Easter Road on Wednesday night?
Scott Bain.
Correct. For about 10 minutes, right enough, wasn't it? He turned
Still get a strike.
Turned up to Celtic Park when he had the Hibs track. You were 3 each then. What a dramatic one this is, Ryan. Your last question to put the pressure on Kieran. Celtic loanee Felipe Jota was produced in the Benfica youth system. Name 3 other players that also came from this academy. 3 current players that came from the Benfica academy.
that are playing in any league just now.
Yes.
That's such a broad question.
I know, there's he's got like, so Matthew's
I got
ones he's got.
right. Renato Sanchez.
Renato Sanches, yes. Renato Sanches.
João Felix.
João Felix, alright, correct. This question's right up your street.
Oh, I know.
I'd have been stuck on João Felix in him, man.
How many examples did they give?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Jeez.
7, 9. No, 8. No, 9.
I'm trying to think if Semedo was in there. Thanks.
One last. You only need one last one. Of your final guess.
I'm between a few players. I'm just trying to think if there's an obvious player in there.
Right, well, pick one of them.
Sorry.
We'll be here all night.
Wait, did that Tavares come from? Tavares from the one that's PSG?
No.
No.
So,
As one of the guys that I mentioned in that.
who was one of the other guys you mentioned?
I can't remember.
Right, so you said
Semedo.
the two that you got were João Felix and Renato Sanches. The correct answers you could have gave me was Ruben Dias. Ruben Dias, João Felix, Renato Sanches, Bernardo Silva.
I thought him at the start, but I was like, where did he come from?
Andre Gomes, João Cancel.
Cancelo, oh my god!
Yep. Helder Costa, Guedes and Gedson Fernandez.
Gedson Fernandez.
That's the other names that you could have gave me. So that
I feel like
question
they're
is
given more than that.
right
to
up
be
your
honest.
street there.
They're just notable names.
Yes, notable names.
Looking it up now.
So, for fuck's sake, the Benfica had a funder. Right,
Tavares,
Kieran, to win the
Nuno
quiz.
Tavares. That's
To
what
win the quiz. He might have, but I don't know.
he did.
Did he?
Tavares.
Did he come from the Benfica
We gave him
Academy?
that. Yes. we gave
Benfica.
him that.
Benfica.
I can't knock you back then, I suppose, right? Late, the VAR correction. McGinley is 4-3 up
4-3.
as Kieran comes to his
VAR.
final question. Right. Name the centre half pairing that started for Celtic the last time we won at Easter Road in January 2014.
Van Dijk.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's the obvious one or no.
Go.
It won't be, but I'm going to just say Denier. But is that even?
He's right.
The correct pairing is Virgil van
Is it
Dijk,
Charlie Mulgrew?
Effie Ambrose. There you go. So Ryan McGinley, well done, mate. You are this week's winner on the Sellik the Thunder quiz with that last minute VAR decision. The first time.
Bring it in.
The first time VAR. Wait, you've not listened to TSF yet, have you? What? Have you not listened to TSF last night?
not.
You know. You better know. We had a right good slander session of you.
Of me?
Yes.
Oh,
There was a point in the show we got on to like how you're right into all your modern stuff, like the 5 subs and the VAR
Yeah.
and fucking.
What's been said about me?
Well, I'm just saying how you're into all that modern shit.
Yep. I'm just doing my own VAR check here because I did say, and I felt quite bad saying this because I said Tavares of PSG. Now I know that he plays for.
Another last minute decision here.
Now I said.
Did say Tavares
I
of
said
PSG.
no, I said Tavares, but I meant Mendes.
Again.
Late drama. So, sorry, what did you do?
So I said Tavares of PSG.
Right.
Now there's Tavares that plays for Arsenal that came from
Aye,
there. But there is a Nuno Mendes that plays for that came from
No mensch.
Sporting.
No mensch.
Mensch.
No mensch. That's his name.
Nuno.
No mensch.
Oh, fuck me.
Have you never seen the TikToker? The mad guy,
No.
the Portuguese guy. So what you're saying is you're wrong.
No, but I said Tavares. I said
Of
the name Tavares. I just
PSG.
get the name wrong of the team they played for.
That's a dodgy.
It's a sketchy one.
That's a dodgy
If you
call.
want to put everything on the table, just go to a tiebreaker. That's fine.
Listen, I'm taking it away for you. You are not our winner this week.
Fuck's
You are
I'm
not
just wanting to
our
get
The music
winner
played and
this
everything,
week.
man.
The music was on. We
Should
thought
have shut up. Do you know it's something
I
that came up?
would
Something,
never have brought that up in my life,
that's
man.
just my guilty conscience.
why
man.
did
I'm
you
just
do
a,
that?
I'm just a good
That's the
Samaritan.
sportsmanship.
too nice, mate. You're far too nice. Right. So then, we get into the nitty gritty. We get into the
you,
tiebreaker
Nuno.
question. Terrible. No mensch.
Fuck me, just say the questions.
Right.
Just
Tiebreaker
play Scooter,
question.
fuck me.
Right. And I'll go to...
We're into fucking Friday now, man.
I know, we're well into Friday, aren't we? Fucking 1 minute past. Happy New Year. Right. The tiebreaker question. The amount of minutes played by Davy Turnbull this season in all competitions.
Fucking hate these
So I'll
questions,
give you
man.
a little bit of time to do your working on your phones if you want to get your calculators out.
No. Thank you.
So that is your question.
So how many games have we played in,
No, that's your mate.
not
You've
in the
got.
league?
I'm going to give you a 30-second countdown
11
style.
games in the league.
I'm going to give you a 30-second countdown style timer to do your working and find out what the correct. Oh, I've got an advert. Oh, away you go. It's what. See YouTube. They're getting awful game, aren't they? With these unskippable adverts, like
Two
just
in a row, though.
2 in a row. Here we go. 2 in a row.
For not singing
Right.
that.
So you're going to get your wee countdown clock here, and this is going to determine.
Can I look up how many games?
Mate, you've got your time started, mate. Do your working. Do your working.
Wait, so you're allowed to go and look up how many games he's played?
Just go and do your working. You've got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. As soon as this goes, phone's down on that fucking table.
It's on transfer market.
As soon as this goes down, you've got it, and that's it. Right. So we're counting in. I don't know if you can hear this countdown clock because I'm playing it through my phone, but here we go.
Oh my god.
It's the famous ending.
It's not even
Boom. Phone's
as soon as I
down.
go
Phone
into
down. Phone down. Phone down.
I had to
Phone
delete my
down.
history
Phone
before I've
down.
done that.
Right. Ryan
Can you hear
McGinley.
me?
Ryan McGinley. How many minutes has he played this season?
11 times 9.
Mate, you've done it. Mate, your answer.
know,
Mate, you had your
yeah,
30 seconds. Say a number, mate. Say a number.
2,500.
2,500
Fuck me, I wouldn't
minutes.
anywhere near that, mate,
You're
man.
going. Where you going?
Fuck it, I'll go 1,800.
Oh, that's a cracking answer. The correct answer is 1,888 minutes. So your winner of this week's quiz, after all the drama, is actually a Mr. Kieran Old.
No, but both the winners because we've both been called.
Nope. The one winner's Kieran Old after everything that
That's a
happened.
controversial
It
win.
will be an asterisk next week. Done it for the
1888
drama, boys.
at 53 minutes ahead of second place,
Joe Hart.
Tom Rogic. In
Jeez,
second place, Joe Hart.
he
is
will be knackered.
Joe Hart in third place. So that brings us to the end. Kieran has won after all the controversies of that quiz. Nono Mensch was the man who made the chance for Kieran to win.
How do you feel?
And that's
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 he's
that's
one that won me
wearing
this.
the Celtic kit for a couple of seasons ago. Remember that one? That
the Encham kit.
Yeah.
Aye,
The
beautiful.
bio kit.
No, the Encham kit.
Christ.
The Encham kit.
Not the only reason I'm saying that is because there's a guy in Just Eat, shout out, that wears a bio kit because he got the match phone kit. He actually got the match phone kit, the number 10.
Brilliant. Right, that's it. That will bring us to the end of the show. We went a wee bit over than what I thought we would have tonight. I thought we'd have maybe ended it at the hour mark, but we had a belter. It was absolutely brilliant tonight. I really enjoyed this. One of my favourites yet, in fact. So thank you very much, Kieran Auld. Thank you very much, Ryan McGinley, for joining me. If you've been watching on YouTube, then you know what to do. Make sure to hit the red subscribe button below for more free content. But also, more importantly, please make sure to press the like button. That's even more important. So smash that to get the content shared out with everybody. If you're on Spotify, make sure to follow the show. Share it out with all your friends. Follow us on Twitter. And I will see you all next time.